Alright, we're back. Time to see what Graha T has to say. Supposed to be able to take stock of the situation by forestalling the 8th Emerald Calamity. We have unwritten history. The future now lies beyond my ken. None can say what awaits, but so long as we stand together, I doubt not, but that we can overcome all trials. What have we always done so, have we not? Oh, we have two different things here. Let's see. Do you mean since I reawakened his body? Hunger being par for the course, I have no complaints. All appears to be well. Though my memories straddle lives I have lived, there are no contradicting fragments which cause me confusion. Yet by the same token, 'tis a strange feeling to be possessed by my young body again. Even accounting for the crystallization, I do not recall ever being so light and spry. As for my soul, your soul assures me that it's similar to yours, Narn. As to say, it is somewhat denser than others, but otherwise normal. On the face of it, it appears to make sense, but I can't help but consider the differences between your circumstance and mine. You, of course, merged with Albert, and as similar as your souls may have been, the fact is that you were different people. Thus did your soul gain density. How you were able to merge is another matter. Given what we know of the soul, that you possess distinct memories should render the process more complicated. Though I had but theorized, perhaps your strong and sheer desire to do so made it possible. In contrast, I simply merged in myself. Whatever additional experiences the older me may have had, my fundamental existence remained unchanged. Mind you, that's not to say that I haven't improved, far from it. At any rate, when our souls combined, it shouldn't have been a process of augmentation either, but rather, shall we say, attunement. It seems somewhat strange that my soul has become denser. Could this be the result of having undergone another rejoining? If so, it would serve as proof of the future that many fought and died to prevent. Lest we forget, my friend, lest we forget. Well, no, I have my suspicions of what this is about, but would you be so good as to confirm them for me? I thought they went ahead with it after all. The artisans of the Mean had come to me for a proposal, you see, and in celebration of the night's return, they asked how I wished to be commemorated, on a coin or as an automaton. Neither, I replied, for all the good it did. They knew I would be embarrassed. It makes no difference what name they give it, yet they still did it. Right stubborn lot they are, as befits the people of Crystarium. They shall be just fine without me, and Lena may rest assured that I do not worry for them. Nevertheless, I shall never cease to be prey for their happiness. No longer am I a leader of a nation. Whatever power and influence I may have wielded, I left behind as surely as I did love my body. But everything I've ever felt and experienced, all those things and more have brought me with me. You have brought for me. And I shall carry them close to my heart always unto the end of days. Alright, well that was kind of neat. Oh, greetings, Narn. Come to look into our friends. Rest assured, everything is quite well. I've been keeping a close eye on them, and I've satisfied myself that they're all in fine health. As a matter of fact, they're just about to convene in Dawn's Respite to discuss how best to use their pent-up energy. Let's join them, shall we?
Well, my friends, now that we have all settled back into our bodies, it is time we resumed our duties in earnest. Let us speak of our plans.
Ever since the Emperor's death, it's been one unsettling rumor after another. I've a mind to pay a visit to Garlemald, to ascertain the truth of the matter.
A prudent endeavor. 'Tis of the essence that we establish the full extent of the threat, not least if it should prove that Xenos doth indeed orchestrate events from the shadows. In light of which possibility, I shall accompany thee on thy mission. Be assured that thou shalt find me more a help than a hindrance. Thou requirest another to imbue thine ammunition, dost thou not?
Assuming that's settled, there's something I've been meaning to look into as well.
Welcome back, everyone!
Lise!
You're fine now, right? No more headaches or keeling over?
That's right. We're fighting fit and raring to go.
The famous Lise Hext, former scion and hero of the Alamegan resistance.
I don't believe we've met.
Really? It's so easy to assume that all Archons are acquainted. But then I suppose your fields of expertise are rather different.
Grahatir, at your service. I have read much and more about your exploits, Commander. It is a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance.
Likewise. The others told me all about you.
Do not be so sure. Words scarcely do justice to the vital role he played in our victory in the First. A more dependable comrade one would be hard-pressed to find.
Oh, right. I did glance at the report. But I'd be lying if I said I understood half of it. Well, that's a lot to take in. Just to be clear, this means we're not heading for another calamity, does it?
Shorn of their unsundered master's leadership, what Ascians remain shall struggle to see their plans to fruition. And though I would ever advise caution, I believe we may rest easy for a time.
I'll take that as a yes. Even so, I don't know what to make of this business about Hydaelyn and Zodiac being primals.
A difficult truth to bear, yes. But at last we understand the nature of our adversary. And if there are no further calamities, neither will there be rejoinings, meaning Zodiac will never regain his full strength. Even so, as the oldest and mightiest of primals, he remains a force to be feared. Though his is a power born of the desire for salvation, we have seen the havoc it may wreak. And it falls to us to ensure that it is never again brought to bear upon this star.
But tell us, Lise, to what do we owe the pleasure of your visit?
What do you mean? Isn't seeing my long-lost comrades reason enough? Alright, there was one other matter. I have a message from the Alliance, and before you ask, yes, it's about the Empire. So, after Emperor Varys' assassination, it seems his cousin Nerva made a bid for the throne. The trouble is, he wasn't the only one with designs on it, and it didn't take long for a civil war to break out. And it's not just in the provinces. Early reports say huge swathes of the Imperial capital have been reduced to rubble. The Alliance will soon convene in Alamigo to decide on a course of action, and we were hoping you'd come along.
Well, as it happens, Urianger and I were just this moment planning a little trip to Garlemald. And we should be grateful for any advice the Alliance can provide on how best to make the most of our visit.
To Alamigo, then.
Why don't you go on without me? There's something I need to look into.
Ah, forgive me. You were just telling us. What is it, if I may ask?
I want to find a way to cure the Tempered.
Of course. You think it may be possible to adapt the treatment you used to help those corrupted by the Sin Eaters?
I'm Sorry, a cure for tempering? But that would change everything. Alizé, consider yourself uninvited. Go and find us this cure.
I'll do my best. I was hoping you might join me. Don't worry if not, though. I won't hold it against you if you'd rather attend a stuffy meeting.
What meeting? Lead on.
I knew you'd say yes.
I'll come too. If you don't mind, that is.
Mind? I'm sure they would be glad of your company. Pray, enjoy your time together with your hero.
No. That's not... I mean, I simply thought my knowledge might be of some use.
We shall be on our way then. Godspeed.
Alright. Well, it seems like we're picking back up with Alizé's main objective of getting a cure for tempering for that little guy that we last visited, like right before we went to Shadowbringers. It looks like we got Grahatia hanging around with us too, which I guess makes sense. I did notice that syaoranvee's voice sounded different in that cutscene. Like, I don't know if it was just me, or if it sounded like maybe he had a new voice actor. I'm not quite sure. But it definitely sounded different to me there. In any case. When I set out to save Halric, I think Gabu was always at the back of my mind. Having proved that the light corrupted are not lost, I'm convinced that the same must be true of the tempered. Similar to those corrupted by the Sin Eaters, the ether of Gabu's soul has been rendered stagnant. And though the root cause is different, perhaps the solution is the same. It is by no means an unreasonable hypothesis, Alizé, and it warrants full investigation. There's even a chance we can save Gabu, we have to try, but however much I'd like to race over to Limsa and set to work, there's no room for recklessness. Not when a child's life is at stake. As I'm sure Begluk will remind us, we still know little and less about the soul. Any number of things go wrong if we don't exercise due caution. And so before attempting anything, we should learn all we possibly can about tempering. Just one problem, research on the condition has long since ground to a halt, and that combined work of many scholars involved doesn't exactly amount to a wealth of knowledge. Not of the modern scholars, perhaps, but what of the ancient counterparts? I know the Elegans took a more than passing interest in the subject. And if what we seek is to be found anywhere, it should surely be at the Ethochemical Research Facility. Where they experiment on primals and their worshippers, yes? Good thinking. Never actually been there myself, but I do read reports on Azala. Which means we'll be needing an airship. An airship, you say? Meet me at the northern bank of Silver Tea Lake. I've got a little surprise for you. Oh, and come prepared to travel. What, she commandeered a personal airship since we were gone? And I want to say it's just outside of here, I'm assuming, so... I think it's here and still in Mordorna, so we may as well just head outside and fly there. Yeah, we don't have too much more main story content to go through here. Once we get into 5.5, that's going to be it until Endwalker. The only thing left at that point is to do the raids and whatnot. Let's get our flying polar bear. Yes. I'm just... Okay, now I'm finally existing. Just kinda took a moment, I guess. Oh, we do have an airship here, nice. Give you the Banaza, the Scion's very own airship. We built her as a company project with help from our friends the Rising Stones, named her for luck and prosperity. Chitara, this is amazing. We'll be able to fly just about anywhere we want. Our garments are impressive enough, but to build an entire airship, I see the annals do not exaggerate the many talents of the Scion's fabled coinkeeper. I'd also introduce myself as your pilot, except the training didn't go quite as well as I hoped. That's alright, because we hired this capable fellow over here instead. The Bianza is equipped with a full complementary of mana cutters, by the way. Feel free to use them to get around Azala. Enough talk, it's time to fly, all aboard. Kind of interesting that we're heading back to Azala, of all places. We haven't been there since Heaven's Ward. Honestly, Sid would be jealous of the way the airship flies, so Chara has outdone herself. Anyway, here we are, Azala. And Alphanod's report did not do the scale of the place justice. This appears to be the helix, which means we stay in the Alpha Quadrant. To the east lies the Beta Quadrant, and... Yes, I believe I have my bearing, so this is my first time at Azala. I do have some familiar with the place thanks to the cords in the Crystal Tower. Unless I'm mistaken, this path leads to an Aetherite, beyond which there will be an informational terminal, as we should begin our search there. So does he have, like, the ability to tap in this place like he does the Crystal Tower, because it's Allagan made? Like, I know he can control the Crystal Tower, but I didn't know if he could control the other Allagan type things. Pretty sure we have this, Yeah, that's fine. Here's the terminal. A moment while I search the archives for references to tempering. Ah, there we are. Iconic corruption, an overview. That sounds promising. Indeed, let's see what this report has to say. Confound it. The contents appear to have been deleted. What? No, isn't there something you can do? Not from here, I'm afraid, but there may be another copy of the report exists elsewhere. The question is where to look. It says here the report was written by someone named Owen. It is likely that he kept a copy. I would say it's a distinct possibility, assuming he was a researcher here. He may have had quarters on the Happisphere. We can ascertain the details of the Happisphere control. Let's return to the Benaza and avail ourselves of the mana cutters. We will need them to reach our destination. Forgot, you already have a suitable means of transport, don't you? No need to waste time accompanying us back to the ship, then. We'll see you at the Happisphere. That makes sense. hoping I could just kind of fly over here. I'm not quite sure if it's inside of something or not. There is still like a big dragon here that's chained up, isn't there? I think it's right over there, actually. I think that's it. This definitely looks like a habitat of some sort. The only thing is I don't remember too much about this place. Okay. I guess we were never actually over here. We just discovered it. If the late Owen did indeed have a chamber here, this note will be able to tell us its number. There, from what I recall the layout, it should be somewhere in the vicinity of... Warning, evacuation order is presently in effect. Entry to the Hemisphere is not permitted at this time. Fold again. In all likelihood, the order would have been imposed during the Fourth Umbral Calamity. I doubt it'll be lifted in the near future. Energy level critical, returning to base for recharging. Well, surely there must be some other way to gain access. Force, for example? Ere we resort to that, I have an idea. Where we descend a surge of energy through yonder control mechanism, it should prompt the system to restart, releasing the rocks. As for a suitable energy source, a concentrated lightning shard might suffice. Happily, I seem to recall they are known to be formed at parts of stagnant ether throughout the continent. You seem to recall? Are you honestly telling me that that was in the records too? I am. The report sent to the capital mentioned the lightning aspect of ether was prone to pooling on the continent, resulting in surges that interfered with equipment. Minor detail, I grant you, but in my role of caretaker of the Crystal Tower, there was no such thing as too much elegant knowledge. Besides, my studies helped me to feel secure to the source, to home. I must have explored this facility 1,000 times in my mind, but to finally stand here with the two of you is more exhilarating than I can well express. Now then, the lightning shard. If I may, I suggest we split up and search the Beta Quadrant. But beware of the sprites. They want to manifest where the ether is stagnant. Now you're just showing off, which makes me think we should make a contest of this. The first to return here for shard wins. What do you say? Very well, it'd be my honor to come in third. Alright, guess we're heading this way. Oh, it's right next to a fate, too. Oh, I can't do that. The ice does nothing. Okay, here we go. Let's mess with this and see what comes out. Ah, yes. almost there. Bravo, that was quite a show adventure. Why, the spectacle proved so enthralling that all thoughts of the prize slipped my mind. Appear to have forfeited our little race. Congratulations, the lightning shard is yours. What, no drag entrance? You've changed. Oh, you remember that. In my defense, I was caught up at the moment. It isn't every day you meet an honest god hero, after all. Well, the contest continues, so you better hurry back. Ah, but one last thing. Thank you, Narn, for bringing me here. Alright, let's head back and, how do I get out of here? This way? I'm actually not sure. Ah, okay, here we go. Okay, that was easier to find than I thought. Here's allies say had no luck, so victory is yours. Congratulations. Now then, may I have the shard? Here we go. What is that makes you so much better at finding things? What do you have that I don't? That's a question I too have asked myself on numerous occasions. I suspect we could both learn a great deal from Narn. Not only about the secrets of adventuring, but come, we should attend to our mission. Excellent, the system responded exactly as intended. We now have access to the Hemisphere. Only one obstacle remains, the security systems within. Should they be triggered, they could make life rather difficult for us. In light of which, pray leave the rest to me. If I'm right, my royal blood should allow me to venture in unmolested. Assuming this place works like the Crystal Tower, yes, but if it doesn't, you'll be on your own. I want you to promise us that you'll get out the first sign of trouble. I promise. Wish me luck. Well, nothing for it but to sit tight. I'm sure this Owen fellow was very learned, but iconic corruption and overview sounds like a studium thesis. We all had to write one. Unless you wonder, mine was about the combat applications of either. I'm nothing if not practical. Alphonse is more philosophical, of course, political, dare I say it. He chose to write a lengthy discourse on our nation's duty to the world. Conversational subject, to say the least. He stated that Charlatan's knowledge should rightly be used to protect all life on the star, in direct opposition to the country's cherished policy of non-intervention. Being a leading member of the Forum, our father was not happy. At the time, of course, often I was utterly convinced of his views and would cheerfully argue to the death with anyone who saw things differently. By which I mean the roads were long. To be fair to him, though, he's since learned to be a little more open-minded, but deep down he still holds fast to that one belief, and I admire him for it. I should have liked to meet the young Alphanon for what it's worth. My thesis concerned the Alakan civilization as depicted in folklore. Oh, you're back. I didn't know you had attended the studium. I didn't. A thesis was required to earn my Archon's mark. My peers of the students of Baldessian convinced me to write one with the promise of unfettered access to forbidden tomes. Though I considered it no more than a means to an end at the time, I will admit it was gratifying to have my efforts acknowledged. Good gods, an Archon's thesis. I shudder to imagine the work involved, but good enough about that. Is this the fruit of your foray? Yes, Owen's archive node. It was waiting for me in his chamber. If a copy of this report still survives, it will be stored in this device. Shall we find out? Initializing. Scanning for registered user. User not found. To proceed as a guest, please complete biometric authentication. Verifying. Authentication complete. Guest identified as member of the royal family. I'm at your most humble service, Your Highness. It never ceases to amuse me. 'Tis but a pity the effect will not last forever. Dognan Oro said as much when they granted me this gift, but until such time as it fades, I shall use it gratefully. Search Ishai for iconic corruption. Searching. One item found. Iconic corruption. Overview. The report is locked by the author. Please state password. Well, go on then, Your Highness. Tell the nice node the password. Right, let's see. Glory be to Alag. Long live Emperor Zand. Password incorrect. Please try again. Confound it. Come now, passwords are relatively short and simple, for instance. Password. The notion that a password could be something so inane would be laughable were it not dangerously stupid. Furthermore, your conduct in the presence of His Highness is grossly inappropriate. Know your place, handmaiden. What did that thing just call me? Courage. Password incorrect. Again, be warned that any further inappropriate behavior in the presence of His Highness will not be tolerated. Alright, that's it. I say we dismantle it and manually extract what we need. Now, let's not be too hasty. A single misstep and we risk losing the report altogether. I believe this may be a task for Sid and his colleagues. If anyone can coax them out and cooperating, it is them. Come, let's spur the node back to the Rising Stones. And another, quest down. I should probably mention that I have yet to meet Sid since waking up. Rombros did send a word to Ironworks, but here's our friend has been afield on urgent business. Nevertheless, I assure that my proposal to seek his help is no pretext. However much I might look forward to seeing him again, him and everyone, but come, let us be on our way. Look at him go, all but running, how sweet. Still, it wouldn't be to keep him waiting, shall we? Alright, time to head back to the Rising Stones then. Alright. Let's go talk to Cid. So the archive note would have to say, though. Large low-born presence detected. Wonderful news, Nara. Tataru contacted Cid on our behalf, and he is on his way here even as we speak. While we wait, I should be very much to hear what transpired at the Alliance Council. Would you be so kind, Kryl? As you know, the meeting was convened to discuss how best to respond to recent events in Garlemald. According to attentions from our Doman allies, the War of Secession rages on, and the Empire remains without a leader. Amidst the chaos, the Imperial legions in the provinces have begun to move independently of the motherland. Of greatest concern to us is the Illurit of the Third, a legion assigned with Lord Nerva. Hears that they have received substantial financial backing from House Brutus. Brutus, aren't they the ones who took in Ustaro and Ashashi? This bodes well. Xeno's movements, whom we meanwhile remain shrouded in mystery. We're hoping that Thancred J will be able to shed some light on his activities when they return. Till such time as they do, the Allied leaders feel it would be unwise to intervene in the conflict, and so thanks in part to the Imperial withdrawal from Guillemot, they decide to turn their attention to the primal problem once more. Working with friendly factions among the Beast Tribes, they hope to reopen dialogue and explore new avenues for peace. Given the timing, I suspect they wish to put their respective houses in order ahead of a decisive clash with the Empire. Whether their intent, this is not a problem easily solved. Lamensians in particular struggle in their efforts, and Alphadon and Yustola have been called upon to aid them. As long as we're dealing with a tempered, I'm afraid no amount of dialogue will avail us. But if we can develop a treatment for tempering, then anything is possible. Which is why we must succeed. And on that cheery note, why not make yourselves comfortable in Don's respite? I'll show Cid in as soon as he arrives. Alrighty. I definitely want to make work of this new room they put in. Cid at long last. Warning, His Highness is exhibiting elevated blood pressure. Poor news got boos to me, I know only too well how much more it is at stake here. A cure could change the world. It will be interesting to see if a cure can be made. Cid. Forgive us for not coming to see you sooner, my friend. As you may have heard, we have had our hands full. In offense, you are up rather early. I was under the impression you'd be slumbering a while longer. It would have been, had you not fulfilled your promise. I still struggle with that idea. From where I stand, the secrets of traversing time and space seem exactly as unfathomable as they ever did. If an alternative version of myself has already laid them bare, I dare say that frees up my concentrate on ever endeavors. Speaking of which, you wanted my help with something that what is it? Well, treatment for tempering, and for the next step you need to find a password to this Allegan's report. Just so, with nearly a clue to guide us, we could be here forever and still not guess correctly, and thus return to you. Well, I'd love to say that we could help you, so I will. Once duly configured, our Magitech terminal should make short work of identifying the password. I knew I could rely on you. Now, anticipating that it might be of use, I took the liberty of borrowing a tombstone from Rambos. It contains an Allegan dictionary. Good thinking. I'll transfer the information to a terminal and set it right to work right away. Yeah, it looks like it's finished. Let's see. Freedom. The password is freedom. Short and simple, just as I said. Would you care to do the honors, Your Highness? I would, my lady. Now, to open the report entitled Iconic Corruption Overview, password freedom. Password accepted. Opening report. This report seeks to provide an overview of the mechanism by which icons corrupt and bind men to their will. The phenomenon we call corruption refers to the alteration of the ether of the soul. Said ether ordinarily exists in equilibrium, no one element being more prominent than another. But when a subject is exposed to the ether of an icon, this changes, their soul taking on the properties of the entity in question. By way of an example, exposure to the ether of the fiend, Sephiroth, would cause the subject's ether to become aligned with the element of earth. As a consequence, the subject would attain heightened affinity of Earth expected magics, as well as pre-natural levels of endurance. Repeated exposure would further enhance these traits, ultimately altering the subject's very flesh. The changes undergone by the subject are not solely attributable to elemental alignment, however. Further testing has determined that the subject's soul becomes umbrally charged, or stagnant during the process. This stagnation of the soul has the effect of diluting the sense of self, rendering the subject vulnerable to the will of the icon, the thoughts of whom come to consume their entire existence. In this manner do the corrupted become worshippers of the icon, their prayers serving to further empower the entity. Having discerned the mechanism of iconic corruption, my colleagues and I have set out to develop a material capable of shielding one from its effects, an endeavor in which we were successful, albeit at a great cost. In the course of testing, many of my assistants, good men and women all, fell victim to corruption. In accordance with protocol, they were suddenly put to death. I subsequently submitted a proposal to investigate potential cures for corruption, but it was rejected, deemed non-essential by Lord Amon. Though I knew it would be fruitless, I protested the decision, and for my impotence, I have been stripped of rank and title, and will shortly be expelled from this facility. In all likelihood, this report will be expunged from the archives. Nonetheless, I record it in hope that one day someone will undertake to do what I could not. and find a cure for the victims of iconic corruption and recording. So not even the Elegans were able to find a cure, or rather were not given the chance to do so. One cannot help but wonder what motivated Lord Amon's decision. More importantly, this confirms the stagnation of the soul is indeed the problem, and Angelo can remedy that. True, yet were we simply to reanimate a tempered soul, I fear it would do not to diminish the individual's fanatic faith. Indeed, it may very well intensify it. No, we need someone who need to suppress the primal's hold over the subject at the same time, or risk them ever remaining its thrall. So there's no point in reviving the souls unless we can also restore their simple sense of health? But of course, memory transference. The process has the effect of compartmentalizing memories, separating them into manageable bundles, if you will. By adapting the technique, it may be possible to achieve selective reanimation, that is, limiting the effects to only those memories that existed prior to tempering. Though thus restoring the sense of self, it could theoretically drown out the incitements of false faith which had become the dominant individual's thoughts. I see, the theory seems sound, and our experience treating the light corrupted would help us to identify suitable memories for reanimation. But are you confident you can adapt to memory transference as required? I assume you recall your attempts to do so while trying to bring us home culminated in literal bloodletting. I did, and you're right. Despite my best efforts, I could not recreate the mechanism. I can see that the rather clumsy compromise I reached could not provide the basis for a cure. Perhaps it's better that we consider another approach. Your doubts are understandable, but this time I believe we have a reason to be confident. You see, nodes as this were built with the ability to simulate magics. Which leads me to believe that it may be capable of performing simulations of the transference technique. If so, we would be able to conduct a year's worth of tests within the space of a few days. In theory, it would be no different from how we identified the password. But it'll take more calculating power, a lot more. I honestly couldn't say whether our equipment would be up to the task. Tell me, Sid, why do you suppose Owen locked his report behind a password? Keep it from prying eyes, of course. Why else? Wait, a password that could be guessed by anyone if a leisure in a dictionary wouldn't keep it from a person minded to look. No, he wanted his report to be seen by those who strive for freedom. I don't like the members of a certain distinguished engineering collective. I believe their motto is freedom through technology or some such. You two, write up as many Magitek terminals as you can find and bring them to the workshop. Right away, Chief. Things are about to get very busy. Lucky we had you to help, eh? Alright, so we're getting somewhere. Archive node is not doing much at the moment. Right, well, go ahead to you and I configure the terminals. I want the rest of you to procure supplies. Namely, Curlum to fuel the terminals and ice shards to keep them cool. The more we have of both, the better. Leave the ice shards to me. I'll round up some adventurers and go on a gathering spree. In that case, I'll trust Nara and Alize with the helium. Here's a promissory note for each of you. Take them to the Sky Seal Mat Factory in Ishgard and Stellium Pressling Plant in Thanalan. The people there will guide you what we need. Yours is a well-known face in the Holy See, I believe. If it's all the same to you, I'll head to Thanalan. Alright, let's go ahead and head to, Ishgard then. Foundation, I think? I don't remember.